One of the interesting things about the last couple of wines we've done is you get a comparison from California to Oregon Pinot Noir, but at really different price points. As we mentioned, the California Pinot we drank from the Monterey region is about a $14, $15 bottle of wine. Now we're going to go to the Willamette Valley up in Oregon, and this is a $30 wine we're tasting right now, a 2005 Pinot Noir from Cooper Mountain. They're into the whole organic thing. It's actually pretty lower in alcohol than you might expect, 13.5. I think you'll find interesting if you listen to the comments that was made about the California Pinot and the ones about this one. There really is a difference. It illustrates a little bit about the difference between the two geographic regions and a little bit difference between the price point. $15 versus $30. There's a little difference in the wine as well as the geography. So let's see what the guys have to say about it. And Patrick, what did you think of the Cooper Mountain?
The Cooper Mountain was lovely. It actually reminded me a little bit.
Did you say lovely?
It was lovely. It reminded me a little bit of the Beaujolais in that it had a lot going on from the beginning all the way to the finish in sort of a refined way. I think the difficult thing with the Estancia was it hadn't been open long enough, so we couldn't get really a Pinot to Pinot comparison. But the finish on this just goes on forever.
Mm-hmm. Alex?
I agree. I think the big thing for me is I think Howard pointed out, maybe not in the opening, this has been open for a few more hours. And I think you can tell that with the time open, that it really brought out I think the best qualities of this wine. This kind of gives you the true complexity of a really good Pinot. I think the Estancia, is a great baseline Pinot and really works well from a comparison standpoint. But you can tell the layers of complexity. You can tell the spice notes, the fruit aspects of this, and I agree with Patrick. It is just has a great mouthfeel all the way to the end, and it's just one that is just fun to just have in the glass and is really designed well not only with a dinner, but this is your after dinner drink. This is the one you bring out and open afterwards when you're just having conversation post dinner, and I think that's a great bottle to have.
Barry, we have Oregon versus California. What'd you think?
I like this a lot. I think everyone agrees it's really delicious fruit, and it's got a slightly pepper aftertaste. Not a lot, but a little in it. That to me is what gives this its sort of distinctiveness. So I think it's great.
Michael?
And that's what hit me on the nose. This had a much, much better nose, and I was trying to identify whether or not it was the pepper. And one of the differences also was the fact that this one was open a lot more. It's almost as if I went from an undergraduate degree from the first Pinot to graduate school with this one, and I'm very pleased with this wine. This is a fantastic wine.
But I think what you get is, do you want to spend $12 on a Beaujolais and have a similar effect? Because I tasted the Beaujolais from the attack to the finish. I got all of that versus spending $30 on a terrific Pinot Noir and getting a more refined version of that. I think that depends on who your guests
you brought up the whole
and I agree.
tightness.
I think the big thing is that this is one. I think I agree in some sense. This is if you really like your guests. This is the one that you really want to open for them. But I also think that you can bring that Beaujolais out at the front end of the meal, run it through its course, bring this one out at mid-meal or the end of the meal, and have it run its course. And I think the progression will be really, really enjoyable to your guests.
Well, I think I was going to say the same thing, but you were talking about tightness earlier. And to me, the Beaujolais is good anywhere in the meal, even the dessert. But this one's pretty tight. I would assume that you would probably put that as your main dish, and even afterwards when you're sitting around and reminiscing about family and all that. This is a good sippable wine that kind of lingers enough to where you're remembering, or it almost goes with the emotion of your meals.
Well, and I think if your guests like wine and they drink a lot of wine, then do you want to spend the extra $20? That's really what we're talking about.
Yeah.
If you want to spend $20 extra on Thanksgiving, and I think you choose the Beaujolais or you choose the Cooper Mountain.
Oh, you can do both.
Well, or do both. But I do think that if you're right, I think the aspect of if your guests aren't going to appreciate the wine that's being put in front of them in terms of the nuance of and the layering of this particular Pinot, then you can do well to just have offered the Beaujolais, 2 bottles of the Beaujolais as opposed to a bottle of the Beaujolais followed by a bottle of the Pinot. But I think if your guests are truly wine folk, starting with the Beaujolais and finishing with the Pinot is a exceptional way to go.
Yeah.
So the point of doing this in a couple of episodes is that we're all guys that just like to drink wine. We get together once in a while, every 2 or 3 weeks over the summer. I got a feeling we'll continue it through the winter and talk a little bit about wine. Our opinions may help you. If nothing else, they might give you an idea about some wines you want to try, and that's the whole point. So happy Thanksgiving.